Can you force auctions, issue unlawful tax bills just for job performance?
Face the people! Revoke them in 5 days! Not guilty! No tax evasion!
In July 2007, the Supreme Court found Tai Ji Men not guilty and no tax evasion.
I can hardly breathe!
Stop the execution.
In 2009, the defendants received national compensation for wrongful detention.
Illegal execution!
The Tai Ji Men tax case originated from the criminal prosecution. The tax bills should be revoked as per not guilty ruling from the criminal court.
The Tai Ji Men tax case is a fabricated case. Since its founding in 1966, Tai Ji Men has been tax exempt. Why was it taxed for the 6 years? That was a result of prosecutor Quan Renho's unlawful prosecution. The National Taxation Bureau issued tax bills based on the prosecutor's illegal indictment without conducting any investigation. So tax bills were issued for the 6 years listed in the indictment. However, both the Supreme Court and Supreme Administrative Court ruled in favor of Tai Ji Men, stating that Tai Ji Men is not a cram school and that the red envelopes from dizi to their shifu were gifts, not tuition. Therefore, Tai Ji Men is tax exempt.
The criminal court made a final not guilty decision. That is, their indictment was totally untrue. That is, they failed to put forth evidence. Tax bills issued without any evidence to justify them, of course, are invalid. They should automatically resolve the case.
However, all of the illegal tax bills for the 6 years based on the false indictment have not been revoked. The Hsinchu branch of the Administrative Enforcement Agency will enforce auctions against Tai Ji Men's property in the Miaoli Mountain area on July 31st.
How can you execute an incorrect judgment? It's like you clearly know a person is wrongly convicted and sentenced to death, and yet you still proceed to execute the person. It's wrong if the government does nothing to correct the mistake. Even more wrong if the government proceeds to execute the person.
We still want to emphasize that Tai Ji Men indeed is not a cram school.
In 1997, the Ministry of Education stated Tai Ji Men is not a cram school. In 2010, during a public hearing, the Ministry of Education again clarified that Tai Ji Men indeed is not a cram school. In 2007, the Supreme Court confirmed Tai Ji Men was not guilty of tax evasion. In its re-examination decisions in 2012 and 2013, the Ministry of Finance also admitted Tai Ji Men is not a cram school. In fact, in 2018, the Supreme Administrative Court ruled in favor of Tai Ji Men again, stating that Tai Ji Men is a manpai of Qigong, martial arts, and self-cultivation, not a cram school. As a result, the National Taxation Bureau corrected the tax amount to zero for 1991 and 1993 to 1996, except for the year 1992. Tai Ji Men was still taxed as a cram school for 1992 on the ground that a final decision on the case was made in 2006. However, the Supreme Court didn't make a decision on the Tai Ji Men criminal case until 2007. How could the Administrative Court make a decision, an incorrect one, before that?
They made a wrong finding of fact. They treated Tai Ji Men as a cram school and taxed Tai Ji Men as one. Since the finding of fact was made on the wrong basis, the laws applied were also wrong, and the court ruling was also incorrect.
Corrupt officials, lock them up!
There is another major violation of due process in the 1992 tax case, contributing to Tai Ji Men's losing the case. The case was handled by the same judge, Zhu Ling Huang, in the first and second trials, and even in the request for a retrial. This violated recusal doctrine.
Judge Zhu Ling Huang was assigned the Tai Ji Men case in Taichung High Administrative Court and proceeded to conduct investigations. Afterwards, she moved on to the Supreme Administrative Court and heard the Tai Ji Men case. Tai Ji Men should at least have the opportunity to request her recusal. Was it impossible to make such a request? Totally impossible. Why? Because the Supreme Court and the Supreme Administrative Court don't hold court hearings. It was a written secret trial, so the case was handled by the same group of judges, running around in circles.
Recusal is required for relief procedures. How could it be fair when the same judge handled the case in two levels of courts? Tell me, how could it be fair?
Besides violating recusal doctrine, seriously violating Tai Ji Men's litigation rights. The National Taxation Bureau was even suspected of concealing evidence during the administrative hearing process. That's outrageous.
They sent survey forms to Tai Ji Men dizi they randomly picked and asked them about the nature of red envelopes. They collected 206 survey forms. All of them stated the red envelopes were gifts. However, the NTB of Taipei determined only 9 of them were gifts. The NTB of Central Area recognized only 5 were gifts. Later, when the control yuan investigated the case, the NTB of Taipei stated all were tuition fees.
That's outrageous.
These all say gifts. Gifts in nature. The others all say gifts too.
The National Taxation Bureau's lie about the case was exposed on June 17, 2010. At a public hearing in the Legislative Yuan, Tai Ji Men dizi showed their survey forms, testifying all of the red envelopes were gifts, debunking the false claim of the Ministry of Finance and the National Taxation Bureau.
And now everyone is here, and all the information and evidence is here. It's spread out all over the floor, and you clearly know that you are in the wrong. What you've said in the past is questionable. But you want to continue to make the same mistake? That's bad. We request that the Ministry of Finance conclude this case in 2 months. Exactly what to do, and what are you going to do? Don't delay anymore.
Let the NTB of the Central Area submit the report to the Ministry of Finance. It's the NTB of the Central Area. It's not good to let them take full responsibilities. Just report to the ministry. This is all I will say. Okay, we'll do as the Deputy Minister says. We'll send our official report to the Ministry of Finance. Just now we said to dismiss, to revoke. Revoke it? Okay, the Taxation Bureau of the Central Area will report to the Ministry of Finance.
1 month later, the Ministry of Finance sent letters to legislator Qiu Jingtian, Xing Zhetu, and Justin Chow, saying it had demanded the National Taxation Bureau of the Central Area to revoke the execution pursuant to Article 40 of the Tax Collection Act. 4 days later, the National Taxation Bureau of the Central Area in turn sent a letter to the Hsinchu branch of the Administrative Enforcement Agency requesting it to stop the execution pursuant to Clause 3 of Article 9 of the Administrative Enforcement Law. Yet, as of today, the Hsinchu branch still hasn't stopped the execution. Obviously, there are significant problems with the tax bills. Why are they so reluctant to stop the enforcement? Is there any secret behind this?
Why are these illegitimate tax bills issued again and again? Why haven't they been revoked? One of the most important reasons, as we mentioned, could be the so-called bonus that tax officers receive for collecting taxes.
In 2011, I told the finance minister that this case should be closed. But he didn't attempt to resolve the matter the way he would with his own business. After all, he already got his bonus, and the tax is imposed on someone else anyway.
On March 15th, 2019, they announced the list of recommended reward recipients. That was for the Tai Ji Men tax case. March 5th, 2020. That was in 2019. Now it's 2020. Every year, they talk about how to split the money. They still remember it 1 year later. Performance bonus will be split in 2. Each gets a half.
You are my eyes, you are my eyes, you are my eyes. All of you are my eyes. Why? Go check it out to see if there's anyone evading taxes. There is a reward up to 4.8 million Taiwanese dollars.
Another 10 years have passed since the Ministry of Finance and the National Taxation Bureau publicly promised to resolve the Tai Ji Men case within 2 months.
Revoke them immediately!
Tai Ji Men has been persecuted by the authorities through unlawful taxation for 24 years. The Supreme Court found Tai Ji Men not guilty of tax evasion or violation of tax codes. The defendants received national compensation for unlawful imprisonment. The Tai Ji Men case was listed by the Control Yuan as a landmark case of human rights violations. But ironically, Tai Ji Men's land was illegally auctioned by the enforcement agency on the eve of the establishment of the National Human Rights Commission under the Control Yuan Taiwan on August 1st. While the Tsai administration claims to uphold human rights, promote transitional justice, and implement judicial reform, will it truly have the courage to end this ongoing false and unjust case spanning 4 presidencies? Will the government return justice to Tai Ji Men, or will it let this ridiculous farce full of officials breaking the law and covering up for one another tarnish Taiwan's human rights protection and make Taiwan an international laughingstock?
Revoke illegal action!